Hi, my name's Elon Weintraub. I'm a grad student in chemistry at UCLA. I'm the voice of our Twitter feed, @ShotsInitiative. You can go there for a daily little philosophy tidbit from the Talmud. I'm also one of the founders of the Shots Initiative, and I'd like to talk to you about why you need to learn this. Why learn Talmud Bavli? Well, some people think you might want to learn Talmud Bavli, so you learn the Jewish law, right? You're a practicing Jew. You want to learn how many sets of dishes you need. You want to learn about what you can do in Shabbat. Can you ride a bike? Can you play Monopoly? Can you do your taxes? Can you think about doing your taxes? You want to learn about Nida, so you want to learn about Mikvah. You want to learn about a jar of pickles and the leaf inside the jar of pickles. If a bug crawls into the pickles and dies, does the whole thing become tamei? Not a bug, a little lizard. Whatever, the laws are really complicated. You want to learn them all. Well, Talmud's not exactly the easiest way to learn the laws. Why do I say that? One, because it's written in a foreign tongue. It's written in what's called Bavlik. It's a kind of Aramaic that's not quite Aramaic, not quite Hebrew, and only a unique dialect in the Talmud Bavli. It argues with itself all the time. Everything has one rabbi saying this and one rabbi saying that, and it doesn't tell you how the argument ends most of the time. It just drops it and goes on to another argument. And sometimes it drops it and goes off onto a crazy tangent entirely. So it's very frustrating, and it's not going to really tell you how to be a Jew very quickly. At least, seemingly it's not. And in fact, you don't have to take my word for this. You can take the word of Maimonides. Because why? He wrote a code in the law, and in the beginning of his code, he tells you exactly what I just said. That the language is hard to learn, that everyone is all mixed up, and no one knows what the actual law is. So he's going to write out for you all the laws in a concise, coherent manner, starting in a logical order, going through. Right? It's all very well and good. All you need to learn is that book, and you're good. Don't learn the Talmud. Make me sad. Except that halfway through his code, when right at the beginning, actually, he says that you should be spending hours a day, not just learning the written law, not just learning the oral law, which is the laws about how you practice, but also learning Talmud. And in fact, once you learn the written law, you know the whole Torah by heart, and you know all the laws, how to practice. You've read the Mishnah Torah, you read the Mishnah back and forth a couple times, you memorized the whole thing, right? You don't need it anymore. Then spend all your time learning Talmud. But we just said Talmud's really hard and frustrating, and it doesn't tell you the laws. So what does Talmud tell you? Well, it doesn't tell you the laws. But what it does tell you is how to think like a Jew. Why do I say that? Because that's what Talmud is. It's basically, if you took a tape recorder and you turned it on in a Beit Midrash 1,500 years ago, that Talmud would be what comes out of it. It's written in the vernacular of the day, in a language that's not quite Hebrew and not quite Aramaic. It's like if you go into a study hall nowadays, people talk half in Yiddish, half in English, half in Hebrew, and no one knows what anyone's saying. Same thing in the Talmud. It's people arguing back and forth with each other, because that's what always happens when two Jews talk about something. They always argue back and forth with each other. And they never stick to the same topic because conversations don't work that way. They always veer off from one topic to another topic. But the rabbis wanted to show what they were worried that people would forget is not exactly the law or how to practice. They already wrote the Mishnah down. They were worried that people would forget how to argue, what Jews' philosophy would be like. So they basically, as I said, took a tape recording of all the discussions they had over the last 100 years, in the order they had them, or as much as they could recollect, and threw it together in the Talmud, and then arranged it by the Mishnahs. And that was Ravina and Ravashi did that. And every Jew is supposed to learn that, and again, you don't have to take my word for it. You can take the Talmud word for it, because the Talmud in Ediyot, which is actually a Mishnah, not a Gemara, there's no Gemara in Ediyot, but it's the Talmud's favorite Mishnah, and the reason why is because it's basically a Mishnah telling you the testimonies, right? What happened. So there was a law that no one knew, and two people would testify and say, I remember that I heard from my rabbi that the law is this way. And then the whole Beit Midrash would argue about it and say, yep, he may be right. Or, no, I don't think that guy actually heard that. And Eduyot is a recording. So the Talmud, as I said, is a recording of people talking. So it makes sense that their favorite Mishnah is the Mishnah about deciding all the laws, right? Because that's what Talmud rabbis do. Anyway, this is what it says. So you go to Masechet Eduyot. It's in the Gemara. It's, as I said, only a Mishnah, but there's no Gemara on it, and they wanted to put it in the Gemara, so it's in the Gemara. One of you guys is going to have to do it. And it's in the first chapter of Eduyot, on the first page of Eduyot, actually. it says there was a three-way argument about mikvah, which is kind of an important topic, right? Because, your wives, your mothers, everyone has to go to the mikvah every month to become pure, otherwise you're committing a terrible sin, right? We wanted to get this straight. We want to get this correct, right? Anyway, there's a three-way machloket between Hillel, Shammai, and the rabbis. And Hillel says it's one way, Shammai says it's the other way, and the rabbis say you're wrong. Why do they say you're wrong? Well, because there were these two weavers who lived in the gate of garbage, and they came and they went to one class one time, a class actually from Hillel's rabbi, and so they said, we heard from your rabbis that the halacha is this way, and they argued their opinion, and all the rabbis decided to hold like these two weavers over Hillel and over Shammai. And in fact, some of the Rishonim, some of the commenters on the Talmud say that actually Hillel himself, when he heard the two weavers explain the whole argument in the name of his rabbi, he realized that he himself, who had thought that he recorded exactly what the rabbi said, he himself got it wrong, and these two weavers got it right. And the halacha goes like these two weavers. So at the end of the day, the law was decided by the two weavers. So why does the Talmud tell you all this? It tells you all this for two reasons. One, so you should never think that you're right, because even Hillel and Shammai got it wrong, and these two weavers got it right. And two, so that no one should think that they're unimportant enough that they don't have to learn. Because these two weavers who didn't know anything, had they not gone to class that one time, and had they not learned how to think like a rabbi, that one class, the one time they did that, then the whole halacha on mikvah would have been lost. Which is a pretty big responsibility. And you guys are, you're the next generation, you're college students now. 20 years from now, you'll be the next generation of sages. And you need to learn so that when the Sanhedrin comes in that time, you can say, no, I learned that page of Gemara, and the halacha doesn't go like you, and the halacha doesn't go like you. The halacha goes like over here, in this page of Gemara, and this is exactly why. And because I learned how to think like a rabbi, I can argue my point, and the halacha will go like me. Maybe that'll happen. But even if it doesn't happen, even if you never have to argue halacha, which I don't know how many people are going to see this video, but I'm not surprised if one of you ends up testifying about a halacha or arguing a point, right? But even if that doesn't happen, you still, for yourself, for your mission in life, is to learn how to think like a rabbi. Why? So Lord Jonathan Sacks says, right, that God tells the people that they're going to be a nation of priests. So he says it's not true, right? Because most people in Israel are not priests, right? You have those few guys who go up on the bima, they're the priests, and all the rest of us, we're not priests. So how are we a nation of priests? Well, every person among us is literate. And every person among us is supposed to know how to, decide the law. So we're not priests in the sense of we all serve in the temple. We're not priests in the sense that we all bless the people. But we are all priests in the sense that all of us are responsible to be able to know the law and to know all the esoterics of the religion, just like only the priests of other religions have to know. But enough of your obligation. The main reason why you should learn Gemara is because it's fun, right? You're not going to believe me. Why should it be fun, right? It's crazy. It's dry, and as I said, it's 1,500 years old. Well, I can tell you that you'll find testimonials of people who decided to learn Gemara on a whim, and they'll tell you it's fun. But if you don't believe their testimonials, you should believe the one testimonial in the Gemara, in Gemara Chagiga, right? So what happened? So there was a guy named Acher. Well, his name wasn't Acher. It became changed to Acher, which means the other guy, because he totally decided to quit religion, right? So what is he going to do when he quits religion, right? So he's going to, forget Shabbat, forget Kashrut. I'm going to go out and do something fun, right? Well, he doesn't do that. Actually, yeah, he does do that, right? Of course he does that. But then, what does he do after that? He devotes his life to teaching someone Torah. The Torah that he says is not true. All right, the Torah that he doesn't believe in anymore. The Gemara that he totally doesn't care about. Why? Because he was addicted to it. Because it's fun. And that's the most important thing. So, I urge you to go out, and even if you don't think so, I urge you to choose a daf or two, learn how to do it, find someone to teach you, go out and join us and become part of the Shas Initiative, and I tell you it will be fun, right? If you don't believe me, believe the heretic. Got a Talmud video of your own? We'd love to have it. Please send it to us. Our address is in the video description. Now get out there, grab a Talmud, and go learn. We thank you for your time.